Okay, so let's look at the baseline behavior of our web chart model. If we run sales by category for the year 2008, you can see that we have our basic pie chart, and this is pretty well laid out. It's pretty easy to figure out what this chart is telling us. Everything is laid out rather nicely, adequate space, and it's not too cluttered. So this looks pretty good. And also remember, if you click through on any of these categories, if I click through on the tools category, we set this up so that it actually has that click action. You come through and it renders, in this case, another chart, which shows you the products within that category. And again, you've got a fairly easy to understand, uncluttered chart to work with. Okay, if we go back to sales by category and look at construction as a category, here you're ending up looking at something that at some point you may want to do something different about this. You've got enough elements in this pie now that if you look at any of the given slices in this pie, how they relate to each other becomes a little bit less clear when there's this many slices in the pie. This is probably fine, but you may end up running into a position where you have so many slices that it kind of loses meaning, and you may want to do something different in terms of how the chart renders so that it becomes a little clearer and easier to work with. Okay, if we look then at sales by product, now we have a good example of why what we're going to need to change and why. With sales by product, we have a fairly significant clutter problem in that here we have this lovely legend, which is so voluminous that it takes up too much space. The way that this works is it actually renders the title first and then the legend, and then the chart basically occupies whatever space is left over. In this case, there's not enough. So we end up with a problem where you can hardly read the contents of the chart because it's buried in this tiny little space. So what we need to do is we need to do something to make this render differently. Either we need to cause the legend to go away, or we need to cause the total amount of space to get bigger, or we could even change the shape of this. One of the things that we could do is we could set it up so that it becomes a bar chart. If we have that many values, we may want to set it up where it's a bar chart where it just kind of stretches out, and that way the total amount of horizontal space that we have available to us we can probably expand maybe to say 900 units or so, so that it has a little bit more room to work with. So changing the shape of it may actually mean that if we have enough values along this axis that it won't get as cluttered. The other thing that we can do is we can actually cause this legend to go away, not even show up. And if we do that, then we take away a lot of the clutter problem. Either way, one of the things that we're looking for with the profiling is the ability to affect some of these changes the next time we apply those changes to the model and run it.